A life that wasn't. In a small town near Wrocław, on a quiet street full of single-family homes, the residents had lived alongside each other for years without major conflicts. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and the biggest problem was usually a too loud dog or a poorly parked car. Across the street lived 59-year-old Jan. He was an electrician. Every morning he left for work, and in the afternoon he returned to his small house. Just a few years earlier, he was considered a cheerful person. Together with his wife, they often organized barbecues, visited friends, and took care of the garden together. Everything changed after her death. After a long battle with illness, only silence remained. John became withdrawn. He stopped meeting with people. The garden became overgrown with weeds, and the curtains in the living room remained drawn for most of the day. Neighbors said that he simply couldn't come to terms with the loss. 2 years later, Marek and Anna moved into the house next door with their daughter. They were the exact opposite of young. There was always something happening in their household. The child was running around the garden. On weekends, you could hear the laughter of friends, and Anna tended to the flowers in front of the house almost every day. She was a woman around 40, smiling, natural, kind to everyone. On the first day when she saw John by the fence, she greeted him. "Good morning, I hope we will be good neighbors." For her, it was just an ordinary sentence. For Jan, it turned out to be the beginnings of something that no one could perceive. At the beginning, everything seemed normal. Anna sometimes waved to John. For the holidays, she brought him a piece of poppy seed cake. A few times she asked if he needed help with shovelings. She was polite. She behaved exactly the same way towards other residents of the street. However, John began to assign a completely different meaning to these gestures. In the evenings, he sat by the window. He watched as Anna watered the flowers, read a book on the terrace, played with her daughter. Slowly he began to believe that there was a bond between them that no one but him could see. Months passed. In John's mind, a second world emerged. When Anna said good morning to him, he heard, "I'm glad to see you." When she smiled during a conversation by the fence, he was convinced she did it just for him. Every instance became evidence. Every glance took on meaning. Every gesture reinforced his belief that Anna was hiding her true feelings. He thought about Marek more and more often. He didn't feel hatred towards him, rather pity. He was convinced that Marek didn't understand his own wife, that he couldn't make her happy, that Anna stayed with him only out of duty. In his mind, the conviction was forming that one day she would leave. She would leave for him. Jan started keeping a notebook. Every day he recorded events. Today she looked in my direction for a long time. She deliberately wore a blue dress. She knows it's my favorite color. She's still afraid to leave Mark. She needs time. None of these entries had anything to do with reality. Over time, those small conflicts began to arise between the neighbors. Marek pointed out to Jan that he shouldn't be peeking through the hedge. Later, they argued about tree branches, and later still about the dog. For Mark, these were just ordinary neighborly quarrels. For Jan, each such incident was proof that Mark was trying to distance him from Anna. In the evenings, John increasingly imagined the future. He planned vacations together, renovating the house, new furniture. In his mind, he saw Anna sitting at the table in his living room. These were not brief fantasies. It was a life he lived every day. One November evening, Yang saw Mark returning from work. he approached him. The conversation quickly turned into an argument. There were no witnesses. The police never managed to determine all the words spoken at that time. It is only known that a moment later Mark was lying dead. Jan tried to hide the body in the nearby forest, but he was not prepared. He made a few simple mistakes. Biological traces were found on his clothing. The phone was logged in at the location where the body was hidden. A few days later, he was arrested. During the first interrogation, he answered calmly. He did not behave like a person in a panic. When the investigators asked him about the motive, he was silent for a long time. Finally, he only said, "He stood between us." The police assumed it was about a long-standing neighborly conflict. They didn't understand what he was really talking about. Only a search of the house completely changed the picture of the case. A dozen notebooks were found. He kept them for over 2 years. Every day was described. Every meeting with Anna, every smile, every glance, every accidental gesture. In one of the entries he wrote, "Today she handed me a cup of coffee during a neighborhood gathering. She touched my hand. Now I know she loves me." Chancellor Tegetel was determined that the coffee was served to everyone present. The further they read, the more terrified they became. Jan described walks together that never happened, conversations that never took place, vacation plans, names of future grandchildren, the wedding date, and even the guest list in his diaries. Anna had long been his paramour. The only obstacle remained Marie. During the next interrogation, the investigators asked, "When did Miss Anna tell you that she loves you?" Jan looked at them with surprise. "She didn't have to say it. I saw it every day." Anna was shocked. She admitted that she had always treated John only as a lonely neighbor. She never gave him any reason for such imaginings. She never suspected that simple kindness would be interpreted as a declaration of love. During the trial, expert psychiatrists unanimously agreed that John gradually created an alternative reality in his own mind. The boundary between what really happened at the neighbor's fence and what he imagined in solitude eventually became completely blurred. Every polite gesture from Anna became for him proof of mutual affection, and every presence of Mark an obstacle that needed to be removed. John was convicted of murder. Until the end of the trial, he maintained that he did not understand why Anna never came to visit him. For him, their life together was just about to begin. For her, he was only a neighbor beyond the fence. This is how the story ends. I think the most dangerous obsessions do not arise from hatred. They are born when a person stops distinguishing their own desires from reality. Anna never knew that for 2 years she had been living in a world that existed only in Chan's mind.